Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. These words are not merely a psychological observation. They are a spiritual prophecy. You see, the person you've been longing for, aching for, dreaming of, they are not a stranger walking toward you from the outside. They are a reflection rising from the depth of your own becoming. Love is not waiting out there. It is forming within you. It is not delayed by the universe. It is waiting for your soul to match its frequency. This speech will awaken that truth buried beneath your doubt, your wounds, your wondering. Because when you understand how your inner transformation calls forth the very person your heart aches for, then you'll no longer chase love. You'll become it. You'll see that divine timing isn't making you wait. It's preparing you to meet love as your truest self. Now listen closely, because the universe is about to send you the person you've been waiting for. Subscribe to Hidden Signs and Synchronicity for more messages like this. You must understand something deeply essential. Nothing arrives in your life by mere coincidence. The person you've been waiting for, the one your soul whispers for in the quiet moments, will not be delivered to your doorstep simply because you want them. Desire alone does not summon destiny. What draws this person closer? Is it longing? It is your becoming that calls them forth. When we speak of love, of soul connection, we are not speaking of possession or fantasy. We are speaking of energy, of vibration, of resonance. You are always sending signals into the unseen, whether consciously or not, and the universe responds not to your words or your hopes, but to your frequency. You don't attract what you wish for, you attract what you are. And so the question becomes, who are you right now? What emotional truth are you embodying? If you are still clinging to the ghosts of old wounds, if you are still vibrating with the grief of what was never given to you, then what you will draw near is someone who activates that same pain again. The universe, in its profound wisdom, will send you mirrors until you finally decide to heal what you see. At the moment you begin to align with self-respect, with quiet strength, with open-hearted clarity, not perfection, but truth, that is when everything begins to shift. You may not realize it, but you are not waiting for a person. You are waiting for a version of yourself that no longer needs to be saved. And when that version begins to rise within you, when your inner light begins to burn steady and soft instead of frantic and desperate, the entire energetic field around you transforms, and the one you've been waiting for, you feel that, even across time and space, even if they do not know it yet with their conscious mind, their soul feels the invitation. There are people who come into our lives like hurricanes, loud, dramatic, and unforgettable. But the one who is meant for you arrives like a sun's rise, gradual, certain, peaceful. And they are not coming to rescue you. They are coming because they recognize your frequency as familiar, as safe, as true. And this is only possible when you begin to embody your truth without apology or performance. So look inward now. Ask yourself, what version of me is the universe responding to today? Do I walk in the energy of someone who trusts in timing, or someone who tries to force what isn't ready? Do I hold myself with reverence, or do I wait for someone else to validate my worth? The person you've been waiting for is not lost. They are not hiding. They are aligning. Just as you are. Your healing is their signal. Your courage is their call. Your wholeness is their map. That's why you must focus on the becoming, not the finding, because when you become love, you no longer chase it. You simply attract it. When you live as love, breathe as, speak as love, the universe cannot help but match that energy. It is not always easy. There will be days when you still feel alone, when you wonder if love was meant for you at all. There will be moments where you feel invisible in a world that only seems to reward urgency and noise. But those are the moments that matter most, because in those moments, if you can still choose to stay rooted in your truth, if you can still trust that love does not miss what is aligned with it, you become unstoppable. You become magnetic, not because of how you look or what you say, but because of what you radiate. The right person does not need to be convinced to love you. They will feel it, instinctively, because your energy will echo theirs, but they can only arrive when your frequency stops seeking and starts receiving. The waiting is not empty. It is sacred. It is the space where your soul calls its equal across dimensions. So don't rush it. Don't lower your vibration just to feel momentarily wanted. Don't dim your light to meet someone in their darkness. Keep rising. Keep glowing. Keep becoming the person your heart has always known you could be. Because the one you've been waiting for isn't just coming. They are already on their way. There is a misconception we often carry, a quiet torment buried deep within us, that if something hasn't come yet, it's because we are unworthy of it, that the delay must mean denial, that the space between longing and receiving is a punishment. But that is not the language the universe speaks. What we call waiting, the universe calls preparing. And preparation is not passive. It is divine orchestration, rich with purpose and meaning, far deeper than our impatience can grasp. You see, the person you've been waiting for is not late. They are becoming, just as you are. And love, true love, is not something that simply falls into place at your command. It arrives when both souls have ripened through experience, through breaking and mending, through shedding the masks and illusions that once kept them trapped in cycles of almosts and nearlies. There is no shortcut to this, no forcing the flower to bloom before its time. We have been conditioned to believe that everything must happen quickly, that we must rush, perform, hustle to earn what our hearts desire. But in the realm of the soul, nothing real can be rushed. In fact, anything that is forced collapses under its own weight. So the universe slows us down, not to hurt us, but to teach us how to hold what we've asked for when it finally arrives. Because love is not just about being chosen, it's about being ready. And readiness is not just a matter of intention, it is a matter of depth. You must be able to hold another person's truth without losing your own. You must be able to offer love without needing it to fill your emptiness. You must be strong enough not to run when intimacy confronts you with your old fears. That is what the delay is teaching you. That is what the silence is shaping you into. So many people ask, when will they come? But a better question might be, when will I stop resisting the growth this waiting is asking of me? Because the one you seek is also being shaped by time. They too are wrestling with their becoming. They are healing old wounds you will never have to be cut by. They are unlearning stories that would have distorted your connection if told too soon. Do you see now how deeply the universe protects what is sacred, even from ourselves? Sometimes we are not yet the version of ourselves who can receive what we say we want, and so life begins to soften us, to stretch us, to cleanse us of the need to rush. That ache in your chest, that longing, it is not a signal of lack. It is proof that your heart still believes, and that belief is powerful, but it must be tempered with truth. There is something sacred in the unseen. Just because you cannot see love approaching doesn't mean it isn't. The oak tree takes years to break through the soil, though the acorn held its blueprint all along. Likewise, love may be hidden beneath the surface of your life right now, but that does not mean it is absent. It is forming, gathering momentum, a line in ways your mind cannot predict. One day, when it arrives, you will look back on this space you once. So breathe. Soften. Stop asking why it hasn't come, and begin asking what this season is asking of you. What still needs your attention? What part of you still doesn't believe you're worthy of the love you long for, when it was really just fear dressed in desire? Because the universe does not deliver illusions, it delivers mirrors, and it waits until your mirror reflects the clarity of your truth, not the chaos of your wounds. This is the divine timing you've heard of, not some mystical postponement, but a sacred refinement. The universe is not interested in just giving you a person, it is giving you a reflection, a sacred companion. And those kinds of arrivals are never rushed. They come when you are no longer searching in desperation, but standing in truth. So if you are in the waiting now, know that you are in one of the most holy places there is. Not behind, not forgotten, but in the hands of something vast and timeless, being shaped into someone who can receive what is destined without losing themselves in it. Trust the pause. There is a quiet moment that arrives before everything changes, a subtle shift, a whisper within the soul that no one else can hear but you. It's not loud, it doesn't announce itself with clarity, and yet something inside begins to stir, gently, as if the air around you has remembered something you've forgotten. This is how the universe speaks before a destined encounter. Not through words, but through signs, through feelings, through what cannot be logically explained, but is deeply, undeniably felt. You begin to notice things, not in the external world alone, but within yourself. A sense of soft readiness starts to rise, like your heart is preparing for someone it hasn't yet met, but somehow already knows. You don't know why, but the old wounds don't sting like they used to. The stories you once clung to are fading, and with it, the frequency of your entire being begins to change. You might start waking up at the same time each night, feeling like you're being pulled towards something. You might see repeated numbers, those sacred codes that speak the language of alignment. 1111, 222, 444. Silent confirmations that you're closer than you realize. A song might play at the exact moment a certain thought crosses your mind. A stranger might say something that echoes a feeling buried deep inside your chest. These are not coincidences. These are breadcrumbs from the universe, guiding you home to someone whose energy is moving toward you, even now. And if you listen, really listen, you'll realize these signs aren't just around you. They are within you. Your intuition sharpens. Your inner knowing becomes stronger. You stop needing proof because something far deeper has awakened. Trust. You don't chase anymore, not because you've given up, but because you've finally understood that what is meant for you is not running away, it's being aligned, shaped. And perhaps the most beautiful sign of all is that you start to feel peaceful even in your waiting. You start to smile for no reason, feel a soft sense of hope where there used to be doubt. You may not know their face yet, but their presence begins to surround you, like the warmth of the sun before it crests the horizon. They are near, not because they need them to complete you, but because your soul has become a frequency they can finally find. That's how the universe works. It brings people together not through chance, but through resonance. And long before they appear physically in your life, their essence begins to move in your direction. Sometimes it arrives in dreams. Sometimes through sudden memories of people you've never met. Sometimes it's in the feeling of standing somewhere and sensing you'll one day stand there with them. The future reaches into the present before it arrives, as if to say, prepare, they're coming. The more you align with your truth, the louder these signs become. You start to feel them everywhere, not because the universe has suddenly become more generous, but because your awareness has expanded. You are no longer closed. You are no longer blocked by fear or scarcity or doubt. You have opened a portal within yourself, and from that space, love begins to respond, but you must be still enough to notice. The signs do not shout. They do not compete with the noise of your distractions. They speak in quiet symbols, subtle nudges, a feeling in the chest that cannot be ignored. And if you are always running, always searching, always demanding answers, you'll miss the miracle that is already unfolding. You'll miss the truth that love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it comes as a soft knowing, long before a hand ever touches yours. So allow yourself to be still. Let yourself be attuned to the magic within the ordinary. Let yourself believe that the invisible is not empty, but brimming with messages meant just for you. This is how the universe prepares you. It doesn't just send the person. It sends signs. It sends proof, not proof for your mind, but confirmation for your soul, that you're not alone, that you're being guided, that love is not behind, it's approaching. And when you begin to trust these signs, you begin to walk differently. You stop looking for love in places that drain you. You stop settling for crumbs when your soul knows it is worthy of the feast. You begin to carry yourself as if the love you seek is already on its way, because deep inside, you know it is, because you feel it, don't you? Even now, there's a silent alchemy taking place within you, one that rarely announces itself, but is always shaping what comes next. We often speak of love as something external, something found in the embrace of another. But the truth is, love begins long before two souls meet. It begins with integration within. And perhaps the most powerful preparation for the person you've been waiting for is not the search for them, but the healing of the divine masculine and feminine energies within your own being. You are not just flesh and thought. You are energy in motion, and inside you live both the current of the masculine and the rhythm of the feminine. One seeks, the other surrenders. One protects, the other receives. And for many of us, these forces have been wounded, distorted by past experiences, buried beneath pain, hardened by silence, by fear. When your inner masculine is wounded, you may find it hard to trust yourself, to set boundaries, to hold your own ground. When your inner feminine is wounded, you may struggle to receive love, to soften, to trust the unfolding. But something beautiful begins to happen when you bring both energies into harmony. When your masculine learns to protect rather than dominate. When your feminine learns to open rather than collapse. When you begin to embody a sense of inner safety, where your heart no longer needs to armor itself against connection. That balance is magnetic. It radiates far beyond words. It calls in someone who is no longer here to trigger your imbalance, but to reflect your intuition. So many relationships are born not out of love, but out of wounds seeking resolution. The wounded feminine attracts a partner who cannot hold her emotions. The wounded masculine chases partners who challenge his self-worth, and together they reenact old patterns, trying to win the love they were denied long ago. But this love, the one your soul longs for, is different. It cannot be reached through unconscious repetition. It is only summoned through inner transformation. You must become the very thing you are calling in, not by pretending, not by forcing, but by allowing your inner landscape to heal. Sit with your pain. Hold the child inside who never felt protected. Breathe life back into the parts of you that shut down when love hurt. As you do this, you begin to walk differently in the world, not from fear, not from performance, but from wholeness. And from that place, your energy becomes an invitation to someone who is also doing the same. The person you've been waiting for is not coming to complete you. They are not coming to fix what someone else broke. They are coming to mirror the balance you've cultivated inside yourself. That is why the wait is necessary. Because the more you integrate your potentialities, the more you soften without collapsing, the more you protect yourself without becoming rigid, the more visible you become to the one whose soul is aligned with your evolution. And no, it doesn't mean you will be perfect. This is not about some unattainable ideal. This is about presence, awareness, a quiet commitment to meet your own needs before expecting someone else to meet them for you. It's about knowing when to lean in and when to stand still, when to speak and when to receive it. That harmony within becomes a resonance others can feel. Not everyone will understand it. Not everyone will rise to meet it. But the one meant for you will. They will not be confused by your strength or threatened by your softness. They will recognize it because it lives in them too. There is someone who is not afraid of your wholeness, someone who has also been walking this path, integrating their own chaos into clarity. You will not need to shrink to be loved by them. You will not need to hide your vulnerability or exaggerate your strength. With them, you will feel the safety that only comes from mutual balance, where neither one is chasing or retreating, but both are meeting fully. And this meeting is not an accident. It is the natural result of the work you have done within. It is what happens when your energy becomes clear, coherent, and aligned. The love you seek is not in the future. It is being created in you now. And the more you embody that balance, the more you honor your masculine and feminine, the closer they draw to you. Not through chance, but through frequency, through readiness and truth. You are not waiting for love. Love is waiting for you to become whole enough to receive it. There comes a point when you stop asking for the person to show up and begin preparing to be the person who's ready to receive them. This isn't about pretending or performing or becoming someone you're not. It's about embodying the frequency of the love you seek, not someday, not when they arrive, but now. Here, in the stillness, in the not yet. Because energy speaks long before words do, and what you embody becomes a signal, a silent call that reaches across time and space, and draws to you what is meant. The truth is, love doesn't respond to desperation. It doesn't bloom in the soil of self-abandonment. It doesn't take root when your worth is still being negotiated with your wounds. Love, real love, is drawn to alignment. It's drawn to truth, and you cannot fake the vibration of someone who has come home to themselves. You must actually live it, breathe it, not just when others are watching, but in the quiet moments, when no one is clapping for you, when no one is validating you, when no one is assuring you that your becoming matters, because it does, even when it's unseen. You must become what you are asking for. If you long for a love that is steady, you must cultivate steadiness within yourself. If you desire a partner who can hold your truth without flinching, you must begin by holding your own truth without shame. If you yearn for intimacy that is deep, kind, and conscious, then meet out of strategy, but out of reverence, out of knowing that the love you seek begins with you, not ends with you. This is where most people get lost. They think love arrives to fill an absence. They think someone else's presence will finally make them feel enough. But love does not work that way. Love is not a reward for suffering. It is a reflection of your inner wholeness. So when you embody the frequency of love, before it arrives, you become the very magnet for it, not because you're forcing it, but because you must begin to live as if love is already here. Not in fantasy, not in delusion, but in trust. Let your decisions reflect your worthiness. Let your boundaries speak of your self-respect. Let your life become a sanctuary of the love you hope to share with another. Because if you do not live in that frequency now, you won't be able to hold it when it arrives. You will reject it, doubt it. You'll confuse chaos with chemistry, and you'll call back in the familiar pain of the past, because that's what your nervous system knows best. But when you've done the work to embody love before it arrives, You will recognize it, not because it overwhelms you, but because it feels like peace. You'll see the difference between love and attachment. You'll notice when someone is simply echoing your fears instead of meeting your truth. And you'll choose differently, not because you're cold, but because you'll know that the person meant for you is not here to rescue you from your solitude, but to celebrate the person you've become within it. This kind of embodiment is not glamorous. It happens in the small, mundane, often invisible choices you make every day. Choosing rest instead of hustle. Speaking up instead of shrinking. Walking away when something costs your peace. Saying yes only when your whole being agrees. These are the acts that tell the universe, I'm ready. I'm no longer settling for the illusion of love. I'm holding space for the real thing. And the real thing will arrive, not because you begged for it, not because you manipulated the timing, but because you became an energetic match for it. Because you loved yourself enough to not betray yourself waiting for someone to show up. Because you decided to become your own sanctuary first, and in doing so, you created space for another soul who was doing the same. The person you've been waiting for is not looking for your perfection. They are seeking your embodiment. They are seeking the version of you who knows who they are, who holds themselves with quiet grace, who doesn't chase love, but simply allows it in, because they are no longer afraid of their own light. You are not waiting for love to arrive. You are becoming the space in which it lands. There is something sacred about divine timing, something that doesn't always make sense to the mind, but is always understood by the soul. It moves in rhythms, not deadlines. It moves according to alignment, not pressure. And though we may often feel as if we are ready, waiting with open hands and aching hearts, the universe moves when the energy is true, not when the desire is loud. The one you've been waiting for is not delayed. They are being prepared in the same way you are. And when the moment is right, when both of you are ready not just to meet, but to stay, then you will find yourselves standing face to face, not a moment too early and not a second too late. We often think we're ready simply because we feel lonely. We mistake the ache of absence for a sign of readiness, but love doesn't arrive just because you miss it. It arrives when you're able to hold it, when you've made space for it, not just in your life, but in your being. When you've cleared out the old energies still lingering in your body, the old patterns, the lingering wounds, the silent fears that whisper, you're not good enough. You can't carry yesterday into a love meant for tomorrow. You have to surrender, not give up, surrender. There's a difference. Surrender is trust. It's the deep, still knowing that what is meant will not pass you, that your soul does not miss its appointments. The one who is coming is not just another person. They are a mirror, and so your becoming is not separate from theirs. As you rise, so do they. As you soften, so do they. As you release what no longer serves, so do they. You are both walking parallel paths that are drawing you inward toward the center. It might not look like it on the surface. They may be somewhere else entirely you may not have met, but in the energetic realm, you are already dancing, already exchanging information, already preparing the emotional and spiritual blueprint that will eventually take form in physical space. But the mind doesn't always like this truth. The mind wants to grasp, to calculate, to force. It wants certainty. It wants timelines. It wants to avoid pain by predicting outcomes. But love is not a formula. It's not something you unlock with effort or strategy. It unfolds. It reveals itself when you are no longer trying to manipulate the path, but walking it with humility and openness. That's when life surprises you. When the invisible becomes visible. And when it does, it will feel like you've known them forever. Not because they complete you, but because they recognize the version of you that had to emerge before they could appear. They will see you clearly, not through the lens of projection or fantasy, but with presence. They will see the work you've done, the healing, the integration, the surrender, and they will meet you in that same place, not to fix you, not to save you, but to walk with you, not ahead, not behind, but beside. That's how divine love feels. It's not a rescue mission, it's a remembering, a reunion of two souls who promise to find one another, not in perfection, but in truth. So don't rush what is being woven in divine time. Don't let your impatience rob you of the beauty of this preparation. Don't assume silence means nothing is happening. So much of this process takes place beneath the surface. The roots grow before the bloom. The foundation forms before the structure rises. You are being aligned not just with another person, but with a future where both of you are ready to love from overflow, not from emptiness. This kind of union cannot be forced. It must be honored. And while you wait, not idly, but consciously, keep tending to the garden of your soul. Keep listening. Keep trusting. Keep releasing anything that doesn't match the love you're calling in. Every time you choose to let go of what is not meant for you, you make room for what is. Every time you choose patience over panic, self-worth over settling, you move closer to them, even if you can't see it. The moment will come when it all makes sense, when the waiting reveals its purpose, when the timing proves itself wise, when you look into the eyes of the one who was never late, only arriving in divine time. Which part of this message touched your heart the most? Share below. I'm reading every comment. Thank you.